What up, everybody? I am your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome to the Horrorfest, the FilmBros Horrorfest.
Yes.
All right, y'all. So, like I said, we are in the beginning of October. This is spooky season now.
Yeah.
We are in a different realm, Josh. This is not your genre. This is not your field. We've talked about this before, but before we get into the big topics and the big discussions, obviously, we're going to break this down. But if you want to let everybody know what we are ranking today, what we're going to be doing, so they can have a heads up. And then right after that, follow it up with where they can talk to us, where they can give us some scary movies that if they want us to review for October, they can give us ideas, where they can support us in a big way, and if they want to catch a live stream. Go ahead.
Okay. Since that was a mouthful, we're going to be reviewing and ranking the Halloween movies. One all the way to ends, basically. With the other ones in continuity, not to mess you guys up, you know, how they say non-canon and whatnot. But before all that, you can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. And again, it is spooky season, so we'll take spooky recommendations. You can listen to us anywhere you get your podcast at FilmBros Podcast. That's Spotify, that's YouTube Music, that's Apple Podcasts, things like that. We're on a bunch of sites. Support us in a big way. Buzzsprout, link is in those bios. It's kind of like a Patreon. You subscribe, you get special perks in return. You help us grow. Nice, good exchange. And then you can follow our Twitch for when we go live on Saturdays and throughout the week at FilmBros Podcast. And then when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
Yes. And for our podcast lovers, we do have more of these in the chamber, so make sure you guys are following.
Yeah, these are live, so
yeah,
enjoy that.
Yeah, these are podcast exclusive, so if you are from the live stream and you're listening from there, understand we're not going to live stream everything.
Yeah.
The podcast listeners need their exclusives.
Basically,
that's what they need. But like I was saying, touching up a little bit, this isn't your field.
No.
The spooky season's not your field.
No, it's not.
What is the costume you got for this year?
I got Mario.
Yeah, you got Mario.
Not
Mario. Even a horror icon. You got Mario.
I got Mario.
I'm gonna put a little blood on him and be like, "Oh, I'm hurt."
Spooky Mario.
This is the first episode of our Horror Fest, so I kind of wanted to ask you before we jump into these Halloween rankings and I start breaking all this down. How does the spooky season make you feel? How did it feel watching these horror movies? Obviously, we still got more lined up for the rest of the month.
We got more.
I'm putting you on a few of them just to make sure that you dip in properly into the horror genre.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel? And then what kind of approach are you bringing as somebody who is not interested in or not really a big fan of the genre like I am? Like what are you looking for in these movies, and what do you expect?
Well, as a whole, I mean, I like October. It's a nice season. It's honestly fall.
Pumpkins.
Is it fall? Right? Because
fall.
I like when it starts getting colder. Obviously, like
leaves
that.
Change.
Pumpkin spice. Like who doesn't like that? As far as
white girl,
you don't like pumpkin spice, bro? Like that. That's a good.
I like the cakes. I don't do the drinks.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I like Starbucks drinks.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, the one I had from Dutch Bros was pretty good.
You have those like pumpkin spice like rolls, the ones with like it's like pumpkin spice all around and then it's like white cream in the middle. Yeah, it's really good.
That's crazy. But yeah, no, there are a lot of crazy stuff with pumpkin spice.
Ayo, pause.
But I really like the season. It's just before Christmas and Thanksgiving, so it really sets the tone for the back end of the year, I guess. As far as the horror genre, I'm not. It's not to say I'm not like scared or nothing like that. It's just a lot of it is too predictable. I told you, I watched The Nun and I couldn't take that movie seriously because it didn't take us seriously, the audience.
Yeah.
Like if you can really scare me, that's when it's like, okay, I'm invested because you gave me that fear I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
You're in a different tier.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's as far as the Halloween franchise, it was a nice little thing to start off with. I feel like this is like the beginner stages of everything else because like they pioneered everything like you were telling me, and it's kind of like just a good way to ease into it all. Because I mean, after this one, we go extreme, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse, and I think yeah, Michael and Halloween is like a good foot dip because you start off with how horror used to be back with the original Halloween, and that's, you know, not so much blood, but you still get the scares or whatever that you were hoping for, and then they modernize it, make it more gory, take some gore away, put a little bit more jump scares. We get it. Not jump scares don't always work with Michael Myers, but I mean, it is what it is. They try to make it a thing. Then we got to a point where it was just all blood and gore and really bad, and yeah, I can't wait to break these down with you. Yeah. You know me, I'm a horror fan. I'm through and through. I watch horror movies in January. In February. Yeah.
Way before the year.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm one of those people that will watch horror movies and then go to sleep like a baby right after.
Oh, yeah, no. I can't do that.
I Barbarian, I watched it, fell asleep like a baby right after.
I watched that and I was like, yeah, no, can't sleep. Can't do that. No, it was a good one.
Outside the window. So we're gonna, like how Josh said, we are going to be ranking all these movies in the way that we felt. Now there is 13 originally. There is about 13 films, but today we're only going to be ranking the 12. We are not counting Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, only because Michael Myers is not canonically in that movie. He's, from that perspective, is just, you know, it's like he's in real life with us, and it's just a movie, and then the kids and stuff. So they do a nice little callback in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills with the 3 kids, the one with the skull, the witch, and the pumpkin helmet. For just because I'm gonna break down the rest of them, Season of the Witch is just the Shamrock Company. They decided to make masks. They're gonna try to mind control the children with the mask with a tune. By the end of it, we are left at an uncertain point. We don't know if the bomb's detonated, because I think there was a fail-safe that if it doesn't work, the heads of the kids explode. The masks basically explode. It was left kind of vague, kind of like a few of these times when like Loomis dies at the end of these movies. Left kind of vague, so it kind of, I guess they kind of used it in 2018 and Kills as kind of like a gag. It wasn't really, it wasn't connected. It was just more like a little nod to the fact that Season of the Witch happened. So we are not going to be worrying about that movie. Halloween 3, it's not, I know it's going towards the anthology series. I know a lot of people, some people think it's a cult classic. We're not doing that today. Yeah. Also, we are going to be ranking all the director's cuts of these movies. So we have Halloween. I know we have director's cuts for or the producer cut for Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, and as well as Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Now, I understand your guys' gripes with some of these producer's cuts, director's cuts, most notably in the 2007 Rob Zombie movie. We are just ranking it by the movie. Everything that happened in there, it is what it is, not what it is, but we are going to do our best to just be how do you say, separate the art from the artist.
Very transparent about
so
what's going on, because a lot of these things do have extreme cases. So
the producer's cut, I mean, there's some
trigger warning for when we get there, what do you call it, but
it's just for the movie itself. It's not for those scenes. So
exactly.
But I believe, and we believe here at the Film Bros podcast, the director's cuts are usually the original vision.
Yes.
Before the studio comes in and touches it. So we are going to be doing this based on that. But moving on in there, we're going to go ahead and give you guys the Rotten Tomato scores, because I think it's going to give you a laugh 100%, Josh. Okay. 100% before we start jumping straight into these things. So Halloween 1978, the original Halloween movie, got a 96% on the critic score and an 89% on the audience score. Sound fair?
Yes.
Sounds fair. Halloween 2, 1981, got a 33% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score of 63%. Does that fit the range? Critics probably, because I think horror movies always do bad in critics. I don't know why the first one did really good.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They were like, this one's actually a gem.
Yeah, so that one could be debated.
Yeah.
I think that one not too crazy.
Yeah.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, 1988. That one has a 39% rotten score and a 53% audience score. Fair.
That's not. Yeah, that's pretty. I feel that's kind of decent.
I feel like that one could be debated as well. Maybe a little bit higher, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, 1989, 11% rotten on the critics and a 36% on the audience score.
God damn.
Yeah, they
really hated that.
They really hated this movie. This movie was really panned. And also I know, like, behind the scenes on this one, there was very, like, it was around the time, like, the AMPTP was cracking down on, like, nudity and stuff like that, so they had to cut a lot of stuff, and they had to, like, do a lot of editing to this movie. They tried to pump it out a year later and still had to do all this, like, extra lengthy stuff because of the fact that, like, they were cracking down on those things at the time.
Damn.
So that could probably play a role. I can't really say that it's too far off the money, but it will be debated.
Yeah.
Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, 1995, got an 8% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics and a 37% audience score.
That one makes sense.
Spilled bucket.
That one makes sense.
I will like to note that this is not the producer's cut that they're ranking, but I mean, that one will be a debate in itself. If you guys want us to compare producers' cuts and regular theatrical cuts, let us know. I'm sure Josh would like to do one of Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Moving on, that was scary in itself for you. I seen the deer in headlight look.
I don't watch that movie, man.
Then we got
it's my own horror movie.
Then we got the reboot, right? The reboot treatment, and they decided that 4, 5, and 6 did not matter, and then they jumped to H2O. Bring some people back. Halloween H2O, 1998. That one has a 55% rotten from the critics.
Yeah.
And a 49% spilt bucket audience score. Makes sense. That one I feel like it could be 50-50.
Yeah.
For sure.
More or less, yeah.
Halloween Resurrection 2002. Busta Rhymes. 10% rotten score from the critics and a 25% audience score.
Again, I think that one does make sense too, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe debated. A little bit debatable. I think there was, well, it's higher than the worst one. I don't know. We'll discuss. Halloween 2007. That's Rob Zombie's. It has a 28% on the critics and a 59% on the audience score. Critics
a little bit higher on critics.
Yeah, critics is being a little harsh on that one.
A little bit higher on critics.
Too much blood for them. Halloween 2, 2009. That one has a 23% rotten score and a 44% audience score.
You probably could have done nah, I think that's fine.
It makes sense.
I think that's fine.
Maybe a little bit higher, in my opinion. We got Halloween 2018 now. Went on a good hiatus. About 10 years of a hiatus. Halloween 2018 has a 79% on the critic score and a 72% on the audience score, which makes sense.
Yeah,
I can see that. Halloween Kills 2021, 39% critic score with a 66% audience score. I guess that one could be a little bit more 50-50 in my opinion.
I get why it's there. I disagree with it though.
You disagree?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll listen to your elaboration later. Halloween Ends 40% on the Halloween Ends is the last one. End of the Road 2022, 40% on the Rotten critic score and then 57% on the audience score. That one could be lower, probably. Little hit.
What was it? No, I don't think it's that low.
No.
I think maybe a little bit higher.
A little bit higher. More 50-50 range?
Yes, yeah.
I see it. I feel it. We may disagree. Can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty, into the thick of it, if you will.
Gross.
With that, I got a little bit of a recap for you, for me, for the audience out there, just so we can make sure that we're all on the same page. Now, I see these movies, and I told you when we were doing a rewatch, you were like, why are you watching these movies like this? Or why, you were curious on why I wasn't watching the first one first and all that stuff. I personally think that these movies are unique because with the reboots and them wanting to connect it to the original Halloween and yada, 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 you basically get different visions every single time.
Yeah.
I think I've seen other people say like this, so shout out to them if they've called it first, but we basically see what I believe when it's 1 through 1, 2, not 3, 4, 5, and 6 is basically the Loomis timeline. I feel like everything that happens revolves with Loomis involvement somehow. Then when we get to H2O, when they decide to reboot everything, it's 1, 2, H2O, and then Resurrection.
Yeah.
Basically get 4 movies off that if you want to watch it that way. Then you also have the Rob Zombie ones, which is In a World of Their Own. You also have the anthology series that is Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, that you can watch by itself. Don't really have to watch any more Halloween movies after that. Then you have Michael's timeline, Laurie's timeline. I'm not really sure where this one is. I know that they decanonized everything and just said Halloween 1, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. I know they explore more of Michael, but they did kind of preach it to be a Laurie showdown, Laurie versus Michael showdown. I don't know. What would you dub that one? A Michael timeline, Laurie timeline, not a Loomis. It can't be Loomis.
Well, no, not a Loomis. He doesn't exist in this one. I would say it's probably they share the spotlight for sure, but I think Michael takes it for the first 2 movies before they decide like, hey, Laurie needs time to shine too. You know what I mean? Because she even takes a back seat in the Kills.
That's true. Yeah, and they do kind of put Michael's a little bit more front and center. So maybe Michael timeline then?
Yeah.
A little bit more his way?
Yeah.
All right. So we start off 1963.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Myers is at home. This is the first Halloween movie, the one that came out in 1978. Michael is at home. He goes upstairs. He kills his sister after the boyfriend does the deed and decides to leave. He walks outside. His parents are there. He gets sent off to Smith's Grove.
Yes.
It's a done deal. 1978 rolls around a few years later. He winds up escaping and wreaking havoc on Haddonfield. He goes all the way back. He steals, if you notice, he steals a mechanic's uniform. That's how he gets his jumpsuit. Makes it all the way to Haddonfield. Does a little bit of stalking of Laurie. Kind of, and this is the weird one because this is the one where they don't say that she's his sister.
Yeah.
So she kind of is a victim of circumstance in a way. She kind of is told by her real estate father to leave some keys at the Myers house. And then from there, Michael is just like, I'm on your ass.
Yeah.
I'm watching you from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
He stalks from a tree, stalks from a car, follows her slowly, follows Tommy Doyle for a little bit. Finally murders a few of her friends across the street of Doyle's house, her best friends and all that. By the end of it, they go to Doyle's house after a neck stabbing, a few hits to the nuts, and a revolver of 6 rounds putting him down off a balcony. He winds up disappearing into the night. And that's the end of basically Halloween 1. Then we get to Halloween 2, a year after, literally in 1979 or 1981, a couple years after, but it's supposed to take place 1978, the same night. Laurie is being transported to the hospital. Michael is up walking around. They don't know where he is. Loomis is in hot pursuit looking for him. Michael gets a few kills off, finds out where Laurie is, gets to the hospital. Laurie finds out in this one that she is his sister. Mm-hmm. She freaks out, has a whole I am your father moment. No, you know. Yeah. Loomis gets to the hospital, helps track him down. By the end of it, we don't know. Laurie's riding off into the sunset in an ambulance, and Michael and Loomis seemingly get exploded. We think. Michael's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we think.
Yeah.
So, Halloween 4 rolls around. We see a comatose Michael being transported, and then he winds up waking up after he hears that his niece is alive, Jamie Lloyd. Yeah. After making an escape out of a van, smashing dude's head into the side of the van and killing the girl. He makes his way back to Haddonfield and does it all over again. Loomis is in hot pursuit. He kills a mechanic, gets his jumpsuit, blows up the gas station, stops the electricity, does the little things. He gets to Haddonfield. He confirms his suspicions that Jamie Lloyd is his niece, because he runs into her at a mask shop or a pharmacy.
Yes.
And then he's just like, I feel a connection. Let me go check this out real quick. Goes into the house, creeps in, finds the box full of mementos. Turns out Laurie Strode is Jamie Lloyd's mother. He's on the hunt for her. Kills a bunch of people. By the end of it, Michael, again, is riddled by so many bullets, a fire breath shotgun.
Yep.
And he is seemingly dead. But then we move to Halloween 5, the return of Michael Myers. That comes out a year after Halloween 4 came out, which was in 1989. Halloween 5, Michael seemingly survives the blast, and then he is washed down a river where he is taken in by a hermit crab. And a hermit crab, it makes it sound bad, but a hermit. He nurses him back to health for about a year, and then he wakes up and kills the hermit that nursed him back to health. Michael is just an asshole.
Yeah.
Like the ambulance people, too. He was just being kept alive by these people, and he's just rude.
Yeah. He's like, thanks for doing your job.
Oh, medical bill? I don't think so. So then he goes on the hunt, looking for Jamie again. But then when we find Jamie, she is mute and in a hospital. She's being attended to. Loomis is aware that she has a connection with Michael, because by the end of the fourth one, we've seen that in a way she's slipping into that madness because she killed her mother. Loomis is trying to lure Michael with Jamie in a very rude way. I don't know why they made him go in this dark path. It was crazy.
It's fucking insane.
They decided to up the kills a lot more. We seen some sweet kills in 5, but at the same time they took a few kills away from us. Some goofy cops that deserved to die a long time ago, but they were in the movie the rest of the time.
Random ass fucking side effect ass cops.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's so dumb.
It was so weird. Michael gets his kill on. By the end of all that, how does he die in 5? Does he die? No, he is captured. By the end of everything, Michael is captured by Loomis. He is put in a cage. But then somebody helps him escape. A man in black that has been in the shadows the whole movie? Yeah. What the fuck? He winds up getting saved, and that's basically the end of 5. We see Michael being dragged off. But then we get to number 6, the producer's cut. We wound up seeing that Michael and Jamie wound up getting picked up at the same time. Yes. She was basically kidnapped, and sometime in those years before we hit 1995, she is impregnated and has a child in 1995. Like I said, we don't know who the pappy is, but it's heavily implied in the producer's cut who the pappy is, and it's not very good. So Jamie is helped out to escape. She winds up escaping. Michael is in hot pursuit behind her. She gets to a radio station, leaves a bus station, leaves the baby at a bus station, goes and has Michael flee her again. Gets stopped at a barn. Michael does not kill her in the producer's cut in the barn in that most brutal way possible, but kind of just chokes her out. She leaves a message for Loomis through the radio. Tommy Doyle picks it up as well.
Tommy Doyle.
Yeah, Tommy Doyle. Paul Rudd. Then we see that Michael is basically heading home. Jamie Lloyd is finished off by the man in black in the hospital later on in the movie. Michael is on the hunt, but we don't know why he's on the hunt. He's for the baby. I'm not really sure in this one why he's on the hunt, but he goes on a murder spree. Nonetheless, we get a few sweet kills with an axe, maybe a few off-screen bludgeoning, a little girl dancing in some rain blood at one point. Michael is stopped by some runes, and then
this movie is very funny.
Michael stopped by some runes by the end of it. Oh, we can't forget that Karen chick being surrounded and jumping out of a window.
Fuck, dude.
And then Michael stopped by some runes by the end of the movie. Loomis goes to check up on him, and he seemingly was able to break free from the rooms and switched out. And Loomis is now part of Thorn. It was a very messy ending. Halloween 6, everybody. The theatrical cut's not better. I think he gets stabbed. Michael gets stabbed by a bunch of syringes, gets bludgeoned by Paul Rudd, a steel like metal pipe, until all the green ooze comes out. And then Loomis is left standing there, and then he's screaming in horror like if Michael just got up or something and killed him. Oh. It goes to black. So it's kind of the same ending, how Loomis kind of screams at the end of this one. But this one, we actually know why he screams, and the other one, we don't.
Like, no.
Yeah. But if you didn't like that timeline, well, I'm here to tell you we're going to wipe that shit all off. It's all gone. H2O rolls around. We are now not 4, 5, and 6 is no longer canon. It's just 1, 2. Lori off screen decided to fake her death, hide her identity, knowing that Michael was still out there, or feeling that Michael was still out there, because there was no body found, but they just assumed he just combusted into ashes. Loomis wasn't around for that one, but she is now in H2O. Laurie Strode is now the head mistress of the college that she is working at. She has a son with a fucked up hairdo. I don't know why they did that. Michael wound up breaking into the therapist's home, finding out that that is exactly the case. He's like, aha, my suspicions. I knew this bitch was walking around.
Damn.
And decided to go hunting after that. After a few kills, we get to the very end where Laurie Strode chops off his head. And Michael is dead now.
Yeah.
Until we get to Resurrection and find out that Michael had somehow switched bodies with another person, crushed his windpipe so he wouldn't scream, and then Laurie just decided to cut his head off. So in Resurrection, we see that Laurie decided to go the mentally insane route to have a little bit more of a leverage than being in jail, and decided to just wait, and Michael finally showed up. She had a trap set up for him, ready to go. He tricked her by pretending that it was somebody else. She goes to check out the mask, and what do you know? He got the upper hand now, and stabs her in the back, and now Laurie Strode is now dead. She is now dead. And then we cut to a few kids. Busta Rhymes, who has a show that he is doing, a live TV show at the Myers house. Turns out that Myers was hiding in the basement of his house, surviving even before the events of H2O. So the past 20 years after he somehow died in Halloween 2 or got burnt up, he's been just living in the basement of the Myers house, and everybody was just like not gonna go look. Everybody just said, hey, no, this house isn't selling. We don't know why. We're not looking.
Wouldn't go to that spooky ass house either.
I mean, to kind of jump the gun, in Halloween Ends, they destroyed the Myers house. Why didn't they just do that a long time ago? I would have just destroyed the Myers house a long time ago. If it was just like not being sold, it's just property, destroy it, build a new. Michael haunts a new house. He kind of did that in the 5th one when they made a bigger house for him anyways.
Damn.
Yeah. So he gets his kill on. Busta Rhymes whoops his ass. He gets tangled up in some...
He's going to stumble across that line.
Yeah. He gets roasted by a bunch of electricity. He is met at the coroner, and he just wakes up. He's all burnt up.
He's all burnt up.
Yeah, he's all burnt up. He wakes up.
They're like, oh, you got a famous one. And she's like, who? And they're like, Michael Myers. And she's like, no fucking way. Opens the bag. His eyes open. A real callback to like a Friday the 13th movie or something like that.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah. If you wanted to know how that leads up in the next movie, we don't.
You don't.
We don't. Because after that one, Michael goes on a long hiatus. And, after a few hiccups and false startups and the passing of Mustafa Akkad, it was up to Malik Akkad to figure it out. Mustafa's son. So he decided to give the Weinstein Company and Rob Zombie a chance. And we got 07 and 09. So we got the first Halloween, which was a reimagining, quote unquote, from Rob Zombie. He decided to show us Michael's struggle coming up, decided to make the family more hillbilly. Michael goes a little bit crazy, kills a bunch of animals. A lot of blood, a lot of sex, lots of boobs. We decided to scrap that in the middle of the movie. Got that one intense scene, and then we decided to go into a remake of the original Halloween as soon as Michael winds up escaping from the mental asylum after a few worser kills than the original Halloween movie. I don't want to say it was completely the same because he completely murdered these people naked, I might add.
Yeah.
Laurie still has that final struggle, but in this one, it doesn't seem like Michael wants to kill Lori. It seems like he wants to protect her because that was the baby that, he knew. So different take on this one for sure. By the end of it, Lori blows his brains out anyways. So we thought in 2009, Michael miraculously is still alive after being transported in a bus. He is awoken by an accident, being smashed into a very, very bad car accident that smashed into a cow. That was very graphic to see.
Yeah.
Michael arises, and after that goes into hiding for the next 3 years. Basically, a hermit himself, walks around, gets that little connection with Lori still, and then winds up finding her and goes on that killing spree. Tries to get Lori back because they've been having visions. It looked like they were trying to go down that Jamie Lloyd route again. And then after that, it just Michael kills Loomis in this timeline.
Yeah.
He says die, and then he dies.
Spits his own words. There was a white horse. This movie was just everywhere.
Yeah. By the end of it, we don't know what happened. We assume that Lori meets her family in the afterlife, and then happily ever after.
Yeah.
If you want to know what happens, we don't, because we get another reboot.
Yeah.
After another 10-year hiatus, about a 10-year hiatus, we get Halloween 2018, where they say everything before that is non-canon. Even Halloween 2, the only one that we're focusing on is Halloween 1978. And by that one, we know that Lori and Loomis shot Michael outside of the porch. He fell, and then he goes stalking into the night. He never went to the hospital. Lori never went to the hospital. Nobody ever went to the hospital that night. Maybe she just went home without seeing a therapist, because in Halloween 2018, we see these two podcasters go and see Michael. Michael's unresponsive. Lori is ramboed up. She did not get therapy for that first night in Halloween at all.
As like Sarah Connor ass.
Yeah, she had everything rigged up the wazoo. She knew that Michael was going to be coming. Turns out that Loomis is not in this timeline so much. He's, I think after 1978, he just kind of went into the background, and his new protege wound up taking over. His obsession really got the better of him. He wound up letting Michael loose, actually taking Michael all the way to Lori just so he can get his face stomped in anyways. We get some really badass bonker one-shot killing scenes on top of that. Some really good kill scenes from Michael. Lori holds it down, and by the end of it, he's bunkered down in the basement. Building's on fire. Michael is now dead. So we think. So in Halloween Kills in 2021, Michael, it takes place kind of like what Halloween 2 did with Halloween. It takes place straight after the events of Halloween 2018. We find out that after the events of 1978, Michael was stalking. Wound up getting caught up by Loomis. Loomis tried to put a bullet in his brain, but was saved by a police officer who thought that was wrong to do. L for him.
Basically.
We had him. L for him. Wound up getting put away, and that's why he was able to break out in 2018. He is still on the loose in Halloween Kills. Apparently, the ending did not do any. Halloween 2018 did not do anything, and he decided to mow down a bunch of firefighters, a bunch of the fire brigades. And I remember when a lot of people were like, "Oh, you killed firefighters! I can't believe it!" Whatever. And it was a cool scene. These firefighters were a bunch of pussies in this one. I will say they had a bunch of axes. I don't know why they didn't use it.
Yeah, they
the dude with the buzzsaw, like, gets it turned on you, my boy. Like, that's crazy.
Make an attempt.
Michael mows down the whole townspeople while the townspeople are looking for the wrong Michael Myers. Is able to make a girl twirl a Desert Eagle and shoot herself in the face at one point. That joke was crazy. It turns out that Evil dies tonight in this one. And he did not die, but everybody else did by the end of the movie, and even Lori's daughter. And with Lori being sidelined throughout the whole movie, Michael kind of just escapes by the end of the movie. Nobody gets the resolution. Then we get to Halloween Ends in 2022. Takes place about 4 years after the events of 2018. Lori is moving on. She found a house. But if you think the story is about Laurie and Michael, it's not. It's actually about Corey. We see Corey dealing with the events of Halloween 2018. He's still kind of rattled up. He is bullied by this child that he's supposed to be babysitting, so he decides to slam a door in his face, and he falls a few stories down to the ground. Corey is now the new face of evil in Haddonfield.
Yeah.
Michael is a hermit underground, and Corey goes off and does his thing, finds an alliance with Michael. By the end of it, the producers and the director was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Laurie and Michael showdown. Laurie comes back into it, puts 2 bullets into Corey, says, this is not your movie, and has that final showdown with Michael. After getting stabbed, slit, and cut up, Michael is finally beaten and thrown into a grinder. And then we see the end of Michael Myers. So we think Miramax is shopping around the rights right now, and we'll probably find out who he's going to next. But, Josh, that was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Did the timelines confuse you? Or did you kind of understand that this was just a case of poor writing, poor decisions to do with the character and the IP?
I'm sure if I was younger, it would have confused me. But, I mean, watching them older, it's like, it makes sense. It is very much different creators, different stories being written, no one singular direction.
Except for David Gordon Green.
Oh, yeah. 4 through fucking 6. Right?
4 through 6, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombies.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. The timelines are a crazy thing, and it's not confusing to me. But I can imagine general audiences being like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean?
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and like if you're not a big horror fan, you're not gonna know that. I guess if you're not in the know, you're not gonna know that this is no longer canon to this or whatever.
Exactly that. I mean, they kind of. The good thing about Blumhouse and Universal when they got the rights in 2018 or in 2017 or 16 to make the 2018, 2021, and the 2022 one, they knew that they were going to go with a singular vision, and that was David Gordon Green's. So I guess that's the closest you get to a singular vision within these movies. Obviously excluding the original Halloween by John Carpenter because that was his original vision.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson of what not to do in Hollywood.
Basically.
You know, like you should know that you should have everything together. You should know that if you're going to move to this story and this story, that you should have X, Y, and Z buckled down and know that your creators are going to want to have a little backstory. Like you're not going to put a Man in Black in the movie and be like, well, I don't know why we put him in there.
The just came out of nowhere. Yeah, he was nowhere in the 4th one, but he was all over the 5th one. You were like, what the fuck? Why is this man wearing cowboy boots?
It's true. But to kind of break the ice before we jump into this ranking, I know you guys are waiting. I know I mumbled a lot. I kind of want to hear Josh's takes. I was holding a lot of these questions, but what is your favorite Michael Myers? Who was your favorite Michael Myers? Was it Halloween hockey pads? Was it which one did you look at and you were like, this is the one that makes me scared. This is the one that he would fucking hurt me.
Oh man, honestly, the one from the newer movies. Well, the one from the newer movies, and I guess Rob Zombie's movies.
Mm-hmm.
They were honestly the more scarier versions throughout 4, 5, and 6, and then even in H2O and Resurrection. I was like, this Michael doesn't look scary. The homie looks goofy. Like, and then half the time his mask was weird looking, and I know you've tried to tell me before, and I'm like, that's annoying. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's so gross. Like, can you imagine if Ghostface had a mask every other movie, a new mask every other movie?
Well, they do that. They have to tweak it to modernize it. It was just more, they didn't know how to recreate the original for some reason because Rob Zombie was able to do it, like, super easy and just, like,
barely inconvenience.
Yeah, and then they did it again in Halloween 2018, so it's like, 4, 5, and 6, they were just like, oh, how do we do it?
Like, close enough. But no. Not my favorite ones. I think if I had to choose a real look, though, like, I think Kills has the best look. I just like that burnt look Michaels has. Like, his mask is kind
Side
of
the face and
fading,
everything.
like, dirty mask. And I just really enjoyed that look the best, I think.
Okay. I gotta say Rob Zombie's take for sure. I think his was like the scariest one. The mask and everything, I do like the burntness, but I do like the decay of the mask sitting underneath the floorboards for years. That I thought that look was actually really cool. And just sheer size, the sheer size of
that man was
the
huge.
fact that Zombie was like yeah, we're gonna get this monster of a man to like play him. Even in the new ones too, he's a big dude. I think they got a real tall dude in that one. I don't even think the original Michael in the 1978 one was that big.
No, I don't think so.
He just grew.
Yeah, he was just evil. Made him bulletproof. Made him tall. Like
he's like, I eat these for breakfast.
Yeah.
He's worse than John Wick.
Basically.
Just don't be his family member.
Yeah, no.
John
Wick, biggest friend.
Yeah, right. Or a child or a baby. If you're a baby, you probably are gonna survive.
You have a larger chance of being let go than if you were a grown man.
Yeah.
That's
but
funny.
Let's go ahead. Let's start getting into the meat of it, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what you think. I'm sure the people are ready to hear what you think already too. Josh, what is your number 12? Like I said, there's 13 films, but we're getting rid of Halloween 3, so there's only 12 in this one.
Yeah.
What's your 12?
Okay. So I had to shop around my list a couple of times while watching these movies because I was like, damn, like where do these things go? Because personally, I was kind of just like, okay, this one was pretty good, but it can be worse. It can't be the worst one. And then, I found the worst ones and I was just like, wow, the bar really let go from the initial first one, I guess.
Yeah. Shit just kind of drops. Yeah, you kind of notice at one point, like I don't know if you ever do a rewatch, but Halloween 4, like that's why I said hockey pads because there's some scenes in there where it's not the same dude, and they try to make him bulky by putting hockey pads on him. And that one scene where he's about to get run over by the girl at the end of the movie, you can totally see the silhouette of the padding and everything. I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Okay, well, bottom of the barrel, number 12, Curse of Michael Myers. Halloween Curse of Michael Myers.
Okay.
I didn't like the execution here. The acting was kind of nice. It wasn't like the worst thing, but I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like how Michael looked. I didn't really like where they were taking the story.
That's when he was fat, huh? He was fat.
He was fat for some reason.
Yeah. He
was really well fed by that cult. And just the idea that I know you were telling me off screen that there was supposed to be cult involvement or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was no cult like throughout the movies.
Just
so
at the end.
It's just like, well, where the fuck did all this come from? Oh, he's the descendant of Thorn or whatever the fuck. You're like, no, that makes no sense. Like there was no seeded, like if it was planted and then, forgotten about and then they brought it back up, I could have been like, okay, maybe a little leeway. But no, it just came out of nowhere like, oh no, he's the devil's agent or whatever the fuck. I really didn't like this one. It really took the bad taste in my mouth. And it's crazy because, I mean, I really enjoyed 4 or kind of enjoyed 5. But this one just didn't sit right with me after watching it. I was like, this sucks.
Okay. That one doesn't hurt my feelings because I feel like I have a nostalgia attachment to that one. Only because of Rudd. I really like
Paul
Rudd.
I
really like Rudd in this one. So I would say that it's high. It's kind of a little bit higher for me, but that's only because of nostalgia factor. But I can kind of agree with you with some of the story points and everything. And even watching the producer's cut, you can even tell like it's still a mess of a movie. Like the director was trying to figure out how to piece it together after letting it fall so hard.
Yes.
So he did what he could. I think the producer's cut does a little bit better, even though we do get that little reveal. But at the end of it, I don't think it should be bottom. But I'll give it to you. I don't think it should be bottom, but I'll give it to you. And I'll tell you which one should be bottom. Let me tell you right now. It's Halloween 5. That's number 12 for me. Number 12 is Halloween 5 because, look, the goofy soundtrack for the cops. What the fuck? The fact
house is all clear. Like,
why?
Nowhere, goofy ass
and it was
cops.
like circus music. Like, why would they? And then Rachel dying, that was just a big no for me. I was like, why would you guys have done that? And then they made Tina the head person.
Out of nowhere. That threw me off too.
I was like, she had no, she was just thrown in. This is a new character. Why would you make her the head? Why wouldn't you kill Tina and leave Rachel alive? It was just, that was a big fumble. To me, that was like, because I could say right now, 4 kind of teed up something that I felt was promising. And 5 just said, psych, bitch. Like, you're not doing that.
Just
Some might
missed the
say,
dunk.
it's the Last Jedi to the Force Awakens. You know, so it's kind of like somebody was just like, no, we're not doing that. That was stupid, and decided to do something even stupider.
So dumb. I think I get what you're saying, but here's the thing, right?
Right.
For my list to work, at least, I kind of had to take liberties and be like, well, did I like some things more than others? And it's like, well, obviously, yeah, and our tastes are gonna be different depending. And it's like, sure, this movie may not be the worst one, but because I like something in, maybe 4 or whatever a little bit better, that one's just gonna have to take the L. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of where my mind was. But if it was straight garbage, like Curse, then okay. But then again, now you have the dilemma of, oh, is that one really the worst when you hate this one just as much? You can't fight for last place. It's last place.
Yeah, and that's why I will say there's a few of them that are interchangeable in the last place category that I could genuinely say, all right, for any universal purpose. I think when it gets to the meat of it is probably like 6 and up. That's when things are gonna really like start heating up. But I think 5 and 6 being at the bottom is totally acceptable. I feel like those two were the ones that kind of went off the rails a little bit more. So I could say there's some acceptance.
They just took it in an odd direction when 4 was like setting up, honestly, something with a lot of potential.
Right.
Like if they go back and decide, hey, like let's see where this goes, I'd totally be down for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Pick up where 4 left off, not 5 and 6.
No? Okay. Because I was going to say, if you're going to say 4, then you're going to have
4.
to pick. They're going to have to retcon some shit.
Just start from 4, like right at the end, and then have them pursue her being like the next stage of evil.
Another viewing experience. They're going to be like, we're not canonizing anything besides 1, 2, 4, and then whatever else. It'd be a convoluted mess.
That'd be an interesting.
General audiences are going to fucking freak.
But yeah.
So, what's your number 11?
Number 11, Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, bottom.
Here's the thing, right? Because again, I didn't really like this one. But I can tell you, I found a lot more joy in it than Curse. For me, a lot of that shit was just the comedy aspects. I know you're like, well, what the fuck? You thought some of the scenes in that movie were funny? Yes, I fucking loved the scenes with Busta Rhymes. I was cracking up half the time. Because I was like, what the fuck? When
Busta fucking basically bitched Michael, like, what the fuck?
I don't know. He's just like, whoa. And then he like kicks him out a window. The funniest fucking thing. You can't be mad. It's only that I only saved it from being dead last because, I found it enjoyable. I had a few laughs. But other than that, I thought the kills were kind of lackluster. We get one kill off screen where you're just like, well, I wish we would have seen him strung her ass up. The black chick in the garage or whatever.
Yeah.
The acting for me was kind of here. I didn't really like the premise of like. I know you were telling me again that they were trying to be a part of the hip found footage thing or whatever, but I didn't like that aspect either. Maybe it's just me and my own personal gripes with found footage films. But I don't really like what they were trying to do here.
You didn't like that live TV kind of look. I kind of dug it because I think I grew up in that era. I think I was a part of like that whole Jersey Shore coming up, what's all that. But fun fact, and I told you, like, I'm going to be hitting you with a bunch of fun facts about these movies. So like that, the girl getting strung up. So there is footage of her getting like killed by Michael. It's whatever. It's not that big. It's a deleted scene or whatever, but they cut it because the producer said that in every Halloween movie, there has to be at least one off-screen death. And she was the off-screen death.
That's gross.
That was like a stupid rule. Yeah. But apparently like Mustafa Akkad has rules for the franchise. So there's certain things that Michael can and cannot do. And so like I guess one of the rules was an off-screen death. If you notice in every single movie, Michael basically kills somebody off-screen.
Okay, yeah. I think I can pinpoint most of them now. But just to keep going and give this movie the round of shit it deserves. They wasted Lori. They put that bitch prominent on the poster and everything. I have it right here. Right there.
Yeah.
And they wasted her in like the first 10 minutes. I'm just like, what the hell? Why?
She got a fat paycheck out of it.
It's so... I get your bag, but damn.
Yeah.
Like, I wish she would have been there longer. Had me under false impressions. I was like, okay. We get to see the repercussions of what happened and H2O, but not really. And then I just didn't really like that. And then I didn't like the dude. I didn't like the guy that was like giving her advice and like stalking the chick on the internet because he was like Deckard or whatever. I hated his character. Yeah. I was like, what significance does he have here?
Honestly, nothing. I honestly, I was watching the movie again, and I was like, he could have been totally cut, and nobody would have even cared.
Exactly.
It didn't make it.
Save the movie some time.
Yeah, there was no point in putting him in there. But I get that whole love thing, and at the end, he came in really crucial when he was like, "Oh yeah, behind you, my boy." That was when that movie come out. That movie came out in 2002. Instant messaging wasn't that instant. That shit would have hit her like 5 minutes later, and she would have been like dead by then.
Like,
there's no way.
Why didn't you send it 5 minutes sooner?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how any of that shit works, but yeah, my number 11. It was kind of just a weird roller coaster that I low-key laughed at, so it was fine.
Okay. All right. I get that one. But my number 11 is, you guessed it, it's Halloween 6. Those two are the bastard child that, like, I just want to forget. I'd say 5 and 6 are the two that you're just like, what were you guys thinking? Yeah. You guys couldn't even get it together for 2 fucking movies. Like, if you knew you're going to do a trilogy, then it pisses me off because they bring back Loomis again after he said that he wasn't going to come back. Donald Pleasance was like, I'm done with 5 because he was, after 5, he was like, I don't know if you noticed, they changed up his like burnt spot multiple times. He felt like he looked goofy with it. They didn't like the direction they were taking his character, so they drew him back in with this story saying like, this is where we can write everybody off, and it's going to be basically a closer. But then Mustafa Akkad kind of walked in there and was like, that's not what we're going to do. Yeah. So like they chopped it up, they made it different, and that's why we got that theatrical experience that we did by the end of the movie. He asked for something mystical and in a different direction to kind of add to Michael's layers, and he didn't like the final product, so he went in there and completely tore it to shreds. Like I said, I'm kind of ranking it off the producer's cut, and it did do a little bit better, but there still wasn't enough to answer all of the questions. You left a lot of questions hanging that were basically asked in 4 that 5 didn't answer and 6 did not answer at all, and if anything, made it even more convoluted and a little nasty. So at the end of it, I was like, at the end of it, those two, though I love Michael Myers, I'll go back to watch number 6 only because of Paul Rudd. I would say seeing Paul Rudd and Donald Pleasance sharing screen time is something as a child I didn't know I wanted, but as an adult, I'm like, I'm happy this fucking happened because Paul Rudd became this big ass person. Now you're looking back at him and being like, well, this is where he started. I think this was his first movie because I think it got pushed up to Halloween the following year of after 5, and then, or a few years after 5, and then his other movie got pushed back. So this was like technically his first movie, technically not his first movie. So
interesting. That makes sense. I don't know. I think that's just bottom of the barrel stuff. Yeah, and it's really a fight of like, did you enjoy this one a little bit more?
Yeah. I will say 6 had a few more better kills for me that I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Seeing that dude on stage get thrashed was pretty nice, and then like I said, that whole jumping out of a window thing
that shit was funny.
That shit was.
She's just like, if you can't remember the director's cut or whatever, she gets surrounded by cult members, and her bright idea was, I'm gonna jump out a fucking window.
She just gets knocked
out.
And
it just cuts to her jumping out of it. No run up, no nothing. She just leaps. It's the funniest fucking thing.
They tried.
Made me laugh. I was like, no fucking way.
They tried it.
So funny.
But yeah, Halloween 6 definitely better than 5, but I will rewatch them for the sake of rewatching them, but I would not be like, oh, pop on number 6. Gross. Halloween 6, please. The Curse of Michael Myers.
That's a good way to get thrown out the watch party.
Damn, the whole party. But what's your number 10 then?
Number 10. Here's the thing.
You already put Resurrection as 11.
I did, but all these 3 can be interchangeable.
Okay.
Number 5.
Halloween 5.
It was Halloween 5.
So you gotta look. You got some enjoyment out of the little clown circus thing, huh? You don't like that? The little beep beep.
No, not them. I hated them. Hated the cops. But I think this one had decent kills. For the most part, the acting was fine. I think the little girl that plays Jamie is like a really good actress for her age at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, she kills it in this one and in 4. But I think my biggest gripe is just that it ends up this low because it has nothing to do with what happened in part 4.
Kind of. No,
I don't think so.
it connects.
I think it kind of derails and it kind of throws away what was going on
by the end of it. Yeah. But like they played on it pretty well. I think they played on the whole connection thing. I think they kind of strained the connection thing a little too far, where it was to the point where
she
now
can
she's
have
mute,
visions and she can see
mute.
where he's going.
Yeah,
Loomis in here was also very dumb. I think after was it 2 where they take him down the route of like him being fucking insane and obsessive. Like sure, I understand, but like I hate it. I hate that decision for his character. Like I hate that he turned into this thing of like, Michael, he needs to be stopped. You have no idea. Like he was the crown
at this point, you need to be in Smith's Grove, my man.
like you're obsessing over this guy, and like it's for me it kind of just throws me out of it. And then it's that one where like he uses her as bait, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he uses her as bait, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Multiple times.
That's so fucked up. She's just a child, man. And like
he does it one time with her unknowing of it, and then the second time where she's finally like, okay, I'll let you use me. It's like, damn, bitch, I didn't need permission, but okay.
Yeah, like you was gonna get it either way. But and then I guess the real end of it is the sympathy aspect of it, somewhere toward the end, where Michael is like, you get to the attic and all he ever wanted was his family, and you're like, damn, that's kind of sad. And then she tries to play on it, and then you know, I can understand it because they did it a few times throughout these movies where, you know, they try to give sympathy to Michael. I think this one was probably the worst offender because you're just like, damn, Michael really fell for it. What a fool.
What a fucking idiot, bro.
Who would love your big ass? Like, you murdered like 40 plus people, my man. You doing Dahmer numbers out here. Like,
you need a bullet in the domski, bro. No way. Michael was an idiot in this one. And the whole, I get him driving a car, but him driving a car to kill people, that's just not his style. Why would you have
him knowing how to drive throws me off entirely.
Yeah, that's one thing too. And I know like Rob Zombie said something about it too, but yeah, he still made him drive in his movie too. So I was like,
yeah, no.
I was like,
big ass was locked up forever.
You've been mute. Exactly. You've been mute. You haven't talked to nobody. How do you know how to drive?
Yeah,
bro?
you would not know how to drive. That's the one thing at these whole movies where I'm like, that's the most unrealistic thing.
you have a doctor or nurse just like teaching him how to drive on the weekends. Like, come on, Michael, put it in drive.
He's like, oh, you're heading toward the gate again, Michael.
he just starts breathing heavy. She's like, Michael, calm down.
I don't know how to drive. What do you mean? Just put it in gear.
Use the Prindle.
But yeah, number 10.
I give that one. I could give that one to you. Like I said, I feel like the last 3 could be interchangeable.
That's why it's a weird thing because at that point you're like, this one kind of sucked less than the one that just sucked. So,
well, you're probably not gonna like me, but at this point, so number 10, my number 10, it has to go to H2O. 20 years later.
That's so low.
Yeah.
That's so low.
But I'm going to tell you why. First of all, the fucking mask, man. Like, the mask.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
it's a wrap. No.
Like, the mask itself, just unserious.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Unserious of, like, everything.
I have a picture.
You have a picture of the Michael mask?
I have a picture of the Michael mask.
Let me see the mask.
They zoom in on him at one point.
Yeah. When he's in the window.
It's CGI, and it's like his face is just so defined for no reason. Here, like, fuck. Let me see if I can find it. Oh man, I know I took a picture of it. Where are you? Where is it?
You screenshotted this?
No, I was showing it to the group chat that I'm in, and homie was just, he looks so goofy. Where is it? Come on.
You gotta find it. Come on.
I'm looking.
Speedy Gonzalez. Right here.
It's so defined. He's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm gonna die now.
About to get stabbed.
It's so
bad.
That
whole movie is just, first of all, the lack of kills in that movie is just ridiculous. I I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the beginning. I like seeing him in like that little nod to him in the beginning. But still, his death was off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could have been a cool kill, but we didn't see that happen.
Yeah.
We saw the old lady die, but all she did was get thrown through a window, and these idiot cops couldn't hear her or the glass breaking. They were just like,
and then they saw Michael coming toward him and was like, "Hey, you dumb kid, stop pulling pranks," and then they die. They don't do anything like at all. They just and like, what was their significance? Why were they there? Why were they acting goofy like that? Like, were there people watching this in theaters? I was like, haha, like there's no way.
Wait, H2O?
Oh, not H2O. Oh,
that was at 5.
Oh, my fault.
No.
I'm still on that.
Yeah,
I'm still hating on those cops.
I get those cops too. Yeah, no.
You're talking about LL Cool J.
Yeah. I'm talking about H2O, and no, I'm talking about the old lady in the beginning with Joseph Gordon-Levitt when when she's like calling for help. The therapist.
The therapist, same thing.
Or whatever. Whoever was keeping her confidential.
I can't remember this movie for shit. It's so bad.
Well,
or not bad, but
they didn't even like go into. I think it was like a therapist or something.
I'm assuming it's a therapist.
He was able to find the notes regardless, and then
we must have been tracking her down.
I think the most atrocious thing, and I found out why it was always off. But in the beginning, when like they're showing you like the 20 years later, the newspapers and stuff, and you kind of hear Loomis talk, but it's not his voice.
Yes,
because he obviously had passed away before.
Yeah.
They used a voice actor. They didn't even use like old file or anything. They just used a voice actor, and they were like, that's close enough. And they put it in the movie.
You're like, sounds like Loomis.
Yeah, that's if you close your eyes, that's Loomis right there. Yeah. And so that happened. Like I said, the kills were lackluster. I think a total of like 4 or 5 people died in this movie, including Michael, if you want to include him, or it would be 6. LL Cool J got shot in the shoulder, did not die. He was put in there to be cool. I'm not really sure.
To promote his next album?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure why he was in there, because by the end of it, he really didn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah. He wasn't like a hero or nothing.
And he didn't even die. Like, he wasn't even killed by Michael. Like, oh, you stupid, you left the gate open. No, he got shot by the other dude, and that dude died. Like,
how dare you shoot the black guy?
Michael's like, I'm inclusive.
If I kill him, I look racist.
The jumping on tables so silently was crazy.
I thought that was insane too. I was like, his big ass, there's no way.
The coming off a ceiling
that
with one arm, legs up in the air probably. My boy was doing the whole ballerina move up there. Nobody noticed.
He was just planking in reverse.
Yeah, nobody noticed it. They just walked past him. And yeah, the kills were kind of just lacking in this one too. And then I thought that the girl and the little girl that were in the bathroom were gonna get killed, and that was gonna be a sick kill. I was gonna be like, oh, they have the balls. They had the balls to do this in the early 2000s. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Unfortunately,
no. So H2O has to be number 10 on my list. I know it was like this big hyped up event where like, oh, Lori's back and blah blah blah, and it just didn't. It didn't work out the way they wanted to. I don't feel.
I don't know. I still think it's a little low considering the rest of the movies.
The rest of the list.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a better argument for for those ones. H2O, I can't really argue. There's not really much substance in that movie to like really say like this is good. Like if they would have went with the details, if they would have give you a little bit more detail on like Lori and how she got to the school, like how did you fake your death and just become the fucking dean or the headmistress
without identity?
Like, oh, I fell off a cliff and now I'm here. Like, no, like that's insane. So that was that to me was that needed some context. That her son's like whole get up with the hair, and I get what he was trying to do. He was like, oh, I didn't want to look like a pretty boy in this movie, so I cut my own hair in my trailer, and this is how it was gonna look.
Fuck.
Yeah. He literally was like, I don't want to look like a pretty boy because I feel like that's why people are gonna come watch the movie. I'm gonna cut my own hair in the trailer, wear a beanie, and that's why my hair is gonna look like this. So that's what he decided to do.
Oh, I'd have been like, you're off the movie then. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Holy fuck, G. What the fuck?
There's no way you're gonna do that for the movie. You're
no.
gone.
But they allowed him to do it, and so that happened, and that's why he looks that way. And there's just there's nothing really redeemable in this movie besides the fact that Jamie Lee came back and she gives a decent performance in this one. Other than that, everybody else didn't, and it was ridiculous and it sucked.
I understand. I just don't agree.
No, like you get it, but there's worse.
Yeah.
I feel like I could make a better argument for the other one. So if you want to tell me your number 9, we'll keep this ball rolling. Do you have a rebuttal for this one though? Like I kind of want to know why. I kind of want to know why you think it's should be a little bit higher. Just a tease. Okay. I know if it's higher for you, then we're gonna hear it later.
I think just because of what it does, I think after getting 4, 5, and 6, or at least where my head was 4, 5, and 6, you're just like, damn, like this, they really missed the dunk. And then Laurie shows up, and you're like, okay, that's cool. We get to continue, regardless of where it's at. Like I think I prefer the story there over actual things like that were going on beforehand. I was like, damn, I can't wait to see Jamie Lee Curtis again. And then with it standing on its own, I think it's pretty solid. When you throw in what happens in Resurrection and the reveal of Resurrection, it falls off for sure. But I liked where it was trying to go.
No, because even if this was like its final film and this was like the movie that she wanted to just have like Michael dead and her survive, by the end of it, I was like, okay, yeah, congratulations, you won, but he didn't really do anything. Like if he would have, if with the context that it's only 1, 2, and now H2O, it's been 20 years, things died down drastically. I get it. You still have PTSD. People don't let that shit go. Mm-hmm. I understand, but you having this setting in a school and you not utilizing that to give people that fear, that killing, make people hate Michael again, bring him back into the light in a proper way. They fucking cut us short with the kills. They didn't hardly showed us any of them. I think like 2 or 3 of them in that one were actually off screen, which was insane. And then he just does a bunch of like gymnastic dumb shit. Like what the fuck? Like there's no way that he's hanging from the ceiling with one arm. You're not gonna tell me that's happening. He's wearing heavy ass boots and he's a tall dude. And then on top of that, the fact that I don't know if you ever noticed. Look, if you rewatch that movie, look at it. Not only the CGI, okay, the CGI mask. Yeah. He wears 3 different masks in the movie. There's 3 different.
I felt like I noticed that, but I thought I was like playing myself. No, I was like, "There's no way."
No, he wears 3 different masks in the movie, and the one that they decided to give him a close up is the fucking big ass eye hole Michael Myers mask.
That was
in
so
the window.
Off-putting, dude.
It was the weirdest thing possible, but. That one has to be. If you have more, I will wait for that. What is your number 9?
Number 9. Okay. Well, I guess this is where
we're starting to get bumpy, and I will defend a few of these.
This is where it's starting to matter. Okay. Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie.
Low.
I liked the kills here, but I really hated the story. I hated Loomis. Again, you're going to find the theme where I just hate the mystical shit, dude. Like, I couldn't stand what was going on here. I understand. Laurie was probably the standout character here. So it kind of saved it from being dead last. Again, and the kills were pretty solid, but, like, damn. Everything else, the premise
Jamie Lloyd as coming as Annie is pretty good, too.
What?
Like, the girl that played Jamie Lloyd.
The actual
her
chick,
playing as Annie. Yeah, I like her.
So, like, having her back was cool. And but like I just couldn't get behind what was going on here, like the mystical shit, and then Loomis. Like I just really didn't fuck with it. I don't like that they took Loomis into that whole celebrity route, and then he still had that obsession with Michael. Regardless, I was like, pick a lane, my guy.
Yeah,
be the celebrity or be the hateful fool that they expect you to be, the clown or whatever. Like I understand they were trying to make it serious, or Rob Zombie was trying to make it serious with like, oh, they don't take him seriously, but he's actually killing people again or whatever. But it just didn't land for me, and I was like, well, damn. And then, yeah, solid kills, but I just wasn't vibing with half of it. I was like, oh, he's another demon or whatever. And they changed the kid, which threw me off too. I was like, what the fuck?
He grew up too fast, man. From 07 to 09, that growth spurt crazy.
That was 2 years. It's 2 years. The Stranger Things kids have been kids since they were in the first season. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I don't think he just wanted to, because it was supposed to be, and maybe that's what threw it off too, was the fact that Rob Zombie had that fucking need to want to put his wife in the movie again. So it's like, maybe that's why we're tripped up, because if they used the same kid maybe a few years down the line and done a little deep dive into him and not used the mom, it was the fact that they used the mom, and we know that she only visited him for like 2 years and then killed herself. So it was like that has to be a hiccup on Rob Zombie. I can acknowledge that, but that's the wife thing.
And then they play on that whole connection thing with Michael and Laurie again. and I didn't like it here as much as I did between Annie and Michael in the fourth one or fifth one, whatever. It just throws me out of it. This whole movie was kind of a trip.
Yeah, like was it hard to follow along? Did you understand what he was putting down, or you just were like, this is too much, I'm uninterested?
I want to say I understood the white horse thing or whatever. Like, it was supposed to be this big family reunion type deal. Move on, put it in Lori, something like that. I feel like I'm along those lines. But I think there was just, a lot going on between Loomis being an asshole, Lori trying to tether that connection between her and Michael or whatever. And it's like, it becomes this convoluted thing. And you're just like, this sucks.
Okay.
At the end of it, I was left unsatisfied. I was like, okay.
I don't mind them going the mystical route, or like, because that's basically what it is. I feel it's evil, just, how they say Michael's supposed to be the shape, like evil just changing shape. So if there's a reason why that evil is being put out there, I can get behind it. There's just in Halloween 2, there's just it, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, there was just not enough. It was just more like, oh,
it comes out of nowhere again.
Yeah, there's no reason, and they try to tie it into maybe that's Michael's mind or something. But yeah, I understand what you mean by that. So,
and that's the thing, and I understand what you're saying. The mystical thing is that the evil is whatever, but then just let that be the mystical side. Don't try to be like, oh, he's possessed by a demon or so on and so forth, because then you're just throwing it.
Well, I don't think that's
to make it like a thing.
I don't think that's what he was doing in the movie.
Well, no, but I mean, like, in general, don't call it Thorn. Don't make it the actual ghost.
It's
demon
just
thing.
Evil.
Yeah, like
evil dies tonight.
Just make it the essence of evil. Don't shut up. Just don't trying to make it this thing, because then now you got plot points that were never even introduced beforehand.
Okay, I get that. They kind of showed it to you, sprinkled it out in the first one a little bit, so they kind of led up to it, but I feel like he got more heavy-handed in the second one with it, because where in the first one it was sprinkled out. I feel like this one it was just like, yeah, we're diving deep in this bitch now, and it's like, yeah, well, maybe a little too much salt for these guys, man. Just a little too much.
That's enough slices.
Paul Rudd. My number 9.
Mm-hmm.
We're on 9, right?
Yes.
It's Halloween Resurrection.
Oh. What? Why is that so high?
Busta Rhymes. I know what people say, and I know a lot of people say like they hate this movie, but I genuinely had a fun time with this movie. And there's one scene, it's so funny, and I always clown it. I always clown it every time I see it, but there's it's the scene where they're like watching the screen, and dude, literally this the big jock dude that's standing behind the guy on the computer.
Yeah.
He turns his head, says words, but then says different words. It's not the same.
What?
Yeah, it's a complete, they dubbed his voice out or something and put something else in there, and it was the most blatant thing. And now every time I see it, I'm just like, what the fuck is he saying?
Yeah.
I swear he says fucker or something. I don't know. But I know there's hiccups in this movie. I know there's a bunch of downsides, but I just had fun.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun with the kills. I had fun. What's that one scene where he basically gets stabbed with the tripod? I thought that was hilarious when he was just
yeah.
And then seeing Katie Sackhoff in there, that was Bo-Katan. She's in that movie. Mm-hmm. I think that's a plus. I never could understand, and I think this is the movie that made me start realizing
mm-hmm.
it, was Michael stabbing people and the knife holding them in the door. I'm like, doesn't that knife need to be deeper? And they fucked up in that movie so bad that knife wasn't deep, and he did 3 of them, and in the black dude's body. And I was just okay, I'm still having a fun time. I just felt like they were just they didn't give a fuck in this movie, so I was I'm with it for that reason. So the kills were pretty sick. I felt the story, though I didn't like that Lori left.
Yeah.
It makes sense if they were trying to move in a different direction. So I was like, okay, well, if they're going to kill her off anyways, she's dead. Let's focus on this group. And I was kind of down with Michael just basically marking his territory and killing people who come up into his home. I don't like him getting punked by Busta Rhymes, but at the end of the day, if somebody's going to do it,
it might as well be Busta.
Yeah. Come,
That's funny.
look at me now, bro. He should have fucking just spit at it, bro.
Spitting bars in front of him.
Hey, yo, Michael, let me show you how to keep the dice rolling while you're doing your thing over there, man.
Michael was just like, "Oh, he's spitting."
Yeah.
He starts talking.
Yeah, he's like, oh, wait, Michael, do that again. He's like,
Starts producing.
Oh shit. Yeah,
but like, Michael, we gonna upgrade your whole crib. We making it up Haddonfield with this.
Her and then hit Busta Rhymes, and then I get it. Tyra Banks was in the movie too, but I thought she kind of made it hilarious as well when she was like dancing and the dude with the tripod wound up dying.
I was so confused. I was like, how the fuck you not look at the screen one time?
Yeah. And then but by the end of it, I was just like, okay, well, at least they didn't be like, oh yeah, he's dead. You know, at least they were like, yeah, we're going to lead up into something different by the end of it. But it's just, how he was going to escape from a morgue.
I'm sure in another universe we saw that happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I could have fun with this movie. And that's why I put it up there. Though with its flaws and all, like, this is a solid slasher movie for me, at least in the terms of like Michael Myers. Like this was okay.
I guess that's fair. I don't have anything to refute that.
Yeah, this one I feel like this one was put there because I wanted to put it at 11, but in my head I was like, I just have fun with this movie. Like I can watch it and put it on and just be like, this is just some dumb fun. I think what in the what is it? Oh, the scene where in the beginning when the cop like is eating the donut, the security guards or whatever, I'm like, that donut looks fire. Like they made that donut look so good, bro. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my god.
So there's a lot of good things in this one.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I don't have anything to refute because I enjoyed that one too for what it is. Like it's nothing special, but like it's funny enough to be like, okay,
like I could put it on again. The rewatch value for that one is a little bit higher than the rest.
And then like it's funny that Busta Rhymes is low key the reason why you just like. It's such an oddball thing to see. You're just like, I want to see more of that.
Yeah, like first of all, him just knowing karate moves in that movie just like tripped me out.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, Michael," and then he chucks him out a window. I'm telling you, the funniest fucking sequence. And then he comes in later. He's not dead. He's like, "Hey, Michael, trick or treat, motherfucker," and then. Like
he just like breaks in there and like dreads and all. Michael's over there getting electrocuted. He's like, why is he just standing there? And homeboy's like taking his time. It's like trick or treat, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
When right when he breaks in and tries to hit him with that shovel or whatever, and Michael just throws him into a wall like a piece of meat. I was like, damn, stay down. Like
by the end of the movie, I'm just like,
by
the end of the movie, I was just like, I don't even care if Busta put him in this position. Like he deserves to be set free. Free Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
So
goddamn.
I gotta give it to him for at least that part. But Josh, I know it wasn't up there for you, so that's fine. But it's a fun time for me. What is your number 8?
Number 8, Halloween, the OG, the 78, right? 1978.
Okay, the very first one.
The very first.
Oh, okay. Number 8. Goddamn.
I told you when I first watched this that snooze fest. For sure. But all the bad ones were clearly at the bottom. So this one got bumped up by default. And, not to just completely shit on it. Like, I did enjoy the kills. It's a nice little movie. It's just, for me, it felt a little too slow. But the acting here kills. Like again, this one just set the ground foundation. And while I do think it was boring, it was still pretty good.
There was better ones that were made after that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess that's fair. It's a product of its time, kind of like A New Hope. Like, we watch A New Hope. It's not the best thing anymore, but it's like, it was the best thing then, and it's a part of the story, so you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I get that. But you still respect it. As long as you didn't put it at the bottom.
Yeah, no.
That would have been a slap.
It would have been, because I told you, I walked out as soon as I watched it, and I was like, this is fucking boring. Like, I found bottom of my list, and then I kept watching, and I found the actual bottom.
You're like, damn. I was gonna say too, if you would have put Halloween at 12, I would have been like, damn, the rent is due. No, just like, but I guess that's fair. I could give that because there is a few of them that come out later that are pretty good, even though the Rotten Tomato score for a few of these are fucking crazy.
Mad
But
disrespectful.
in a way, I get why the classic has a good score and all that stuff, but it's true. It is kind of slow, and though it is a slasher movie, it was a good slasher movie for its time. Nowadays, it could go down a little bit more. Halloween 8 or Halloween 8. My number 8 slot is Halloween Part 2, the 1989 one or 1981.
Yeah,
Halloween 2,
the sequel.
The sequel to the original. That one for me, I like the kills. They were solid. They did a little bit more blood and gore than what they did in the first one, so that was very like positive for me. It's just this one just didn't have the story. I feel like this one was the boring one out of the first original two. Like even though number 1's boring, I feel like this one's worse. I feel like number 1 I can get behind the little things like Michael breathing heavy, and I could be a little bit more interested. Like, why is he wheezing like that? Why is he wheezing?
Somebody check his pulse.
Yeah. Little things like that. But Halloween 2, I don't like the fact that Laurie sidelined in this one so much. She's kind of was in the bed the whole time. Like, we'll kind of have a repeat offendery happening.
Yeah.
But that happens throughout the movie, and she finally gets up and has miraculous aim where she could just shoot 2 shots in the eyeballs. Like, what the fuck? Like, she just used Loomis's revolver and was able to do that.
Like that, man.
And
she's
then
goated.
and then decides to juke Michael with the air canisters, just and then eventually he blows up. It's not the worst one. It's just, like I said, the kills are very solid. The girl getting dunked into the water, into boiling water until she was gone, good. And that was pretty. That one was like kind of insane to see as a child, I will say. But everything else was pretty okay. The kills were decent enough, and by the end of it, it just left me not as satisfied as the first one, I'd say.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't agree that it's more boring than the second one. I don't like that Laurie took a backseat here. I don't know what their deal is with putting her in the backseat like that. It's just so funky. I think it's a funky concept.
I think it's a way to like flesh out other characters, because Laurie is not really, let's be honest, Laurie's not really that interesting. She's just a babysitter who is just a teenage girl, you know? So I think that's the thing. I don't like, and you brought it up earlier, I don't like the whole obsession thing that Loomis goes through. Like, this was the birth of that. Them running into a kid and him just being like, oh, I'm not sure if that's Michael or not. We're still gonna find him. I was like, bro, like, you just killed somebody. Like,
that shit was funny.
Yeah.
I thought I busted out laughing when I seen that. The way his body just turns into a fucking Y, and then he gets rammed into the ambulance. I was like, they murdered someone, but they get a pass for making me laugh about it. Cause damn.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, they couldn't identify him or anything, so that one got to be number 8 for me for sure.
That's fair. I guess that's fair. I just don't agree with the whole aspect of it being like low.
Oh, okay, yeah. Eight for me is not that low, but I mean, yeah, I guess I can understand.
In the grand aspect of like, oh, did you enjoy it better than the rest of the garbage at the bottom? Sure, but like. Now it's starting to matter. No.
And it's still low for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's your number 7?
Here's the thing about number 7. I'm trying to think about how to say this. It's Halloween Ends.
Okay.
I know if you guys listened to our review about it like a year ago now, I really liked it. I still do. Like, I think it has rewatch value and stuff, but looking back at it now, it really throws you for a loop because of everything after 2018 and Kills really sets the bar. This one just takes a drastic turn. I would say this one and slot 6 can be interchangeable depending on how I feel, just because I am that like torn apart about both of them. But Ends really does something, and I understand the premise. Evil takes shape or whatever, and Corey is supposed to be that new evil, but he came out of nowhere, and I don't know if the crime, the sentence fits the crime, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't think him accidentally killing somebody makes him that validation of evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand, again, that's the whole premise of, oh, he was a good kid, he had one accident, and then, you know, everyone turned out evil. And I'm like, I would have preferred him just be a loser, be bullied, and then become evil.
Yeah.
Like, at least then it makes a little bit more sense.
Like, he hates the world type shit.
Yeah. At least then it would make more sense for Michael to be like, oh, you're kind of like me, and then, you know, move on. Didn't like the aspect of all that. Corey is an interesting concept, and again, I just wish he would have been around at some point before they planted him in the middle. Didn't like that Michael took a hiatus. You're telling me that he tanks a whole town and then takes a hiatus for like what, 5 years?
And nobody can find him.
Yeah,
nobody can find him.
5 years.
That was one thing for me too.
No one's checked that sewer pipe. Like, come on now.
And the fact that, what do you call it, that we see multiple characters come from the first, or Halloween 2018 to Halloween Kills till Halloween Ends, like, you see characters fluctuate and they're all the same ones. Corey could have been in that mix somewhere. He could have been somebody's friend, and, you know, they could have been planting that, like, oh, look at Corey over there, you know, he whatever X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Started planting the seeds and Kills, and that's where I kind of feel where they, you know, history repeated, and somebody didn't, like, David Gordon Green only wrote up to maybe, like, to only have 2018, but then he was told to do Kills and this one, and like, I'll show you my, like, defense for that when we get to that movie. But one thing I wanted to bring up is that you're saying this now, but when this movie came out and we did the review, you were singing a different tune. Yeah. So what is this, because of the larger scheme of things, because you actually watch the other Halloween movies now, the original ones and stuff? Is that why you get this kind of different mindset? Because when I was telling you, you were really like, in the beginning, you were really rocking with Halloween Ends, and you were like, oh yeah, I like the direction that it went. You liked Corey, like you really were rooting for this movie. So, like, what changed?
It's a lot of the grand scheme of things, I guess. Yeah, because, like, you paint the picture throughout the whole thing, and again, I understand what it was trying to do. I just don't like the execution. Like, it sounded better on paper type shit. And again, if you were to present him beforehand about, you know, being some loser or whatever, or, you know, somewhere in Kills or in 2018 he runs into Corey and then he lets him go or whatever because he feels he has potential or something like that, you know, I could have believed that. Yeah. But with no real setup and whatever else, and then worst of all, he dies. It's not like he didn't get the what do you call it, the infinite life glitch like Michael did for some reason.
Right. He wasn't evil enough.
Yeah, like, he gets stabbed one time and then he's dead. Like what, Michael choose better pupil? I don't know. And then again, it's weird that
he didn't get stabbed one time, and Michael kind of finished him off.
That's true. He had real beef. He was like, "Oh, you gonna run up in my little squabble and take my mask? Give me that shit."
Yeah. Trying to kill my bitch?
Yeah.
He snapped his neck, bro.
Yeah. And that's, again, that just leads up to the whole problem of why the fuck they made it a big point at the end of Kills that vendetta was gonna keep going, but you show us Laurie moved on and happy. Like, what happened between that and the 5 years? Like, did she run into Michael? Did she beat him? Was she the one that sent him into the sewer? Like, I don't get it.
She got therapy.
It was weird. And then, yeah, by the end they kill him and stuff, and I found it satisfying enough to be like, okay, he's finally put to rest or whatever. Let that story be the end of it, unless they take it in a whole new direction, they fix it up, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. This movie, rewatching it, like, I enjoy it, but not as much as I used to, I guess.
I see that, and maybe it is because of, or you kind of told me, but it is kind of like that. Though when you see it in that grand scheme, and I understand what the movie was going for as well, you know, shape, evil changing and stuff, is just execution was bad. You could tell they kind of ran out of story. Yeah. Sidelining Laurie in 2 movies is crazy. Like, why just put her, like, I did like that little subplot with the cop though, like her and the cop and the whole flirting thing. But I wish they would have done that while she was, like, actively looking for Michael or something. You know, like, make it seem like she's all fine and dandy, but in reality, I'm hunting for this motherfucker still. Yeah,
like, you're basically telling me for 40 years she was prepping up like Sarah Connor, waiting for the damn Terminator.
Misses the shot.
to show up, and then she gets stabbed by Michael, talking about, "Oh, I'm gonna get him, or whatever." And then by the end, they show her going for him, regardless of the injury he gave her. And then in this one, she's just like, "Oh, we gotta move on." Like that, the correlation there makes no sense.
Yeah, Halloween Ends is a funny one. So I will shred into it when it's my time, because that's more.
I think at that point I'll do my best to defend it, but for now that's my.
Those are your gripes and all that. What about like what was the aspect that put it up that high then? Because I would say 7's kind of high.
Just because I do still like it, I think it still holds up a lot better than the ones in the back end. I can still get behind the kills and the story and things like that. I just personally, I think in the grand scheme of the entire list, it had to fall somewhere. And again, 7 and 6, this one and 6, I think could be interchangeable. I just really like the aspect of them really finally putting the story to an end, I guess. So I think that's why I put it up there kind of high.
I mean, it was put to an end multiple times, if you noticed.
Yeah, but some did it better than others.
Some of them stuck the landing. So my number 7 will have to be Halloween 4. Gotta give it to them. I like Jamie Lloyd. I liked the direction it was going. I enjoyed the kills in this one. The kills were actually fairly solid. What I didn't like is how easy they were. Homeboy reloading the shotgun, missing the shotgun, the cop getting killed on the rocking chair. Like, you were supposed to be on guard. This man snuck up on you.
How does Michael big ass sneak up on people?
That's my thing too. And then the fact that he was just able to walk up to the kid that was doing the whole shotgun thing and just get killed. What else? I don't like the redesign of the Myers house. I thought that was pretty stupid. I think that's it. I think that's why it's up there, because there's not a lot to like hate. It was going in the right direction. Yeah, I can pick at the little flaws like the hockey pads and everything, and them changing out the Michael Myers throughout the movie. But that's not really. I could overlook that because at least they felt that they were going the right way.
Yeah.
I thought it's hilarious that they killed Laurie Strode's character off screen, just because Jamie Lee didn't want to come back. But yeah, I would say 7's a good spot for it.
I think that's a little too low.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's the nostalgia of me talking, because I told you I remember really loving this one when we watched it.
Yeah.
When we had it on VHS and stuff. Like, I remember that one distinctly being my favorite.
Yeah.
But other than that, the kills were pretty good and things like that. I just wish they would have carried on with that storyline.
Yeah. I would have appreciated that one too. It like I said, in 5 it's like they tried to, but it was somebody else.
Yeah.
You could tell it wasn't the singular vision that it was supposed to be. But I know you're gonna get around to it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'll keep it kind of low. I'm sure you'll argue with me in a little bit. What is your number 6?
Again, 6 and 7 interchangeable, but my number 6 is H2O. 20 years later.
Water.
I really like this one. I like seeing Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie, even though she kind of throws her identity away. I enjoyed the kills here. Honestly, I think this was the right step in the direction before, like, to try and modernize it before they decided, hey, let's try and do something really crazy, and then, cameras and things like that, make it a docuseries or something.
Yeah.
But I think the kills here were pretty solid. A few ones that we did get, like, I think they really put a lot into each one. Especially the chick that gets her shit clipped by the little elevator. I was like, damn. But Michael here, yeah. Again, the masks atrocious. I get it. Most of the story in this one, I understand. I honestly, if I'm being for real, I think I prefer a Laurie that is more like prepared versus someone who is scared and not prepared, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, if you're scared, prepare for that shit. Don't just keep a revolver on you. Like I actually prefer that Laurie in the newer ones was kind of like I said, Sarah Connor in that sense. She was stacked up. And then I just don't like how dumb the characters were, I guess. Like, I know teenagers were being portrayed as modern day teenagers, but dumb. Very dumb.
Yeah.
They're like, they're going to go to Yosemite, but we should stay behind so we can, stay around and mess around and things like that. I thought that was very dumb. LL Cool J, although I thought he was kind of funny as he was, he was still kind of random to me. Like, oh, he's like, oh baby, I'm gonna be the next writer or whatever, and like I'm like, man, follow your dreams, but this felt unnecessary to the plot. Like,
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't even die or anything.
Yeah,
either.
he should have. Like, it would have been more heroic if he just died by Michael. But no, Michael spends half the time stalking again, in this one, and that maybe that's why there's such a lack of kills, because he spent the whole time trying to find Lori or whatever,
basically.
And I was just like, well, that's fine.
Stealing cars out of girls' keys.
Still thought it was very dumb. Half tactics here, like you're telling me, like, yeah, I found it very hilarious that he was climbing up on tables all quietly. That he was able to just hang for how long, waiting for Lori. Like, what if he was just like, damn bitch, hurry up.
My arm's getting shaky.
She just hears a thud. Mike, he's on his ass like, that hurt. You have me waiting there for 30 minutes.
The knife is in my leg now.
He's like, I don't even care about killing you no more. Just give me to the hospital. But yeah, and then here comes the ending though, and I was really satisfied with the ending. Before the resurrection decides that's not what really happened. But yeah, I think Halloween Ends and H2O were the most satisfying to me because they provided almost an ending, I guess. But Halloween Ends and H2O can kind of fight for it.
The fact that they still put Lori in a fucking like mental asylum is crazy. It's like Michael was killing people.
Yeah, she's clinically insane or whatever. But I guess it's
I guess
that whole aspect. If it's not the guy,
yeah,
then she how can she explain? But he was dressed up like no.
I mean, if a motherfucker that's dressed like Michael is chasing me, he's gonna die. Why am I in trouble? Like, you know that there's people around it. Yeah, it was kind of like it was a good way to end it, but they completely fucked it up.
Backtracked heavy,
then I'd argue it being. At the time, it being that final film for her still was pretty bad for it to be the final film because they didn't have like a proper resolution. She was hiding forever. They got a couple kills in. He got a couple kills in, and at the end of it, it was just like, oh, my head hurt, and then you cut my head off.
That's funny. I thought there was gonna be something different though toward the end because she threw the van off the cliff, and just it didn't blow up. I was expecting it to blow up.
They just
smashes Michael in a very like Looney Tune way. Mm-hmm. You're just like, damn. But yeah, I think overall this one was kind of good, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this.
Okay, when I was younger, I thought it was really good, but I guess looking at all of them and having to, and this is what I was telling Julie too, like me having to like look at all this stuff, and like it hurts me because I used to love all these movies equally. They were like, you a little dumb, but I still love you. You know what I mean? Like you a little dumb, but I'm gonna still watch you. And now I'm just like, oh man, they're so bad.
Yeah.
They're so bad sometimes. But I like the cheesiness in a few of them. But my number 6, for what it's worth, it's the original Halloween, 1978. I gotta give it to that one.
Yeah.
It's solid. Like you said, built that foundation. I don't like that they did the off-screen kills. I get it. It was all budget costs that they couldn't really do that kind of stuff. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode was genius. John Carpenter is a visionary. I think he does well with that stuff. The camera work. I know it's nothing new to us now, but that whole backseat shot was a game changer when he was driving around following Tommy Doyle. Those moments where you'd think, obviously you could make a joke about it. You know, the scenes where it's like, oh, he's standing out there watching, and then you look away and you look back, he's gone. Like, what the fuck did he do? Like, did he run?
All that stalking.
He was like, oh, she's not looking. You gotta move, and
just books it.
Yeah, just runs to the side. Like, I felt like those scenes, though my comedy brain picks at them sometimes, like those are effective when I was younger, because I would always think like, why is he staring at her?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I would always be like, oh, he's gone now. But now, I'm an adult, so now I notice these things. But
like, we've seen your big ass run, Michael. We know.
Yeah, so, teleport at times. So that has to be my number 6. Halloween is a great nostalgia movie, and it's a great foundation, but we have better modern takes, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I think anywhere other than Dead Last is kind of fair, I guess.
No. I think if you have Halloween anywhere in your last 4, it's disrespectful. 100%.
Maybe.
Anything in your last 4. If it's one of the last 4 in your list, then you're at that point you're just like, fuck you, John Carpenter. Unless you like number 2. In my opinion, either or. I always hear some people say that number 2, they prefer number 2 over 1 because of the kills and stuff like that. And even though they don't get that story, that's why other people like number 1, because they get the story and they just miss out on the kills and stuff. So it can teeter, I guess. Right?
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. All right. See, I'm inclusive too, Michael.
Dumb.
So that is our top 6. Okay, Halloween. Bottom 6, basically. These are the worst of the worst Halloween movies. Not worst, the worst. I wouldn't say worst. So, like I said, my number 6 as being the original Halloween. I don't think that's disrespectful because I think we do get better modern takes. Yeah. I think 4 and down has to be kind of disrespectful. If you put any of those classics down there, that's a slap in the face. But with that, we will argue about this even more. We kind of gave you guys a little bit of a tease. Like I said, the Scarefest will go on. We do have more episodes out there for you guys. They will be coming out every Tuesdays and Saturdays, right? We will have a new kind of Halloween theme episodes and still give you guys our thoughts on the topics, the news that come out weekly. Stopping. That will not stop. With that being said, Josh, if you want to let them know one more time where they can support us in a big way and where they can catch our top 5 Halloween movie picks, go ahead and let them know.
Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow us there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Again, it is our little horror fest, so recommend a movie. We'll do our best to review it in our whole lineup. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts, at FilmBros Podcast, that's Spotify, that's YouTube Music, that's Apple Podcasts, things like that. Support us in a big way. Buzzsprout, link is in those bios of the socials I just gave you. Supporters get special perks like shout-outs and things as such, so you help us grow, and we recognize you for helping us out. Subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast, and then follow our Twitch because we go live on Saturdays and throughout the week. You don't want to miss it. Be a part of the conversation.
And with that being said, we hope that you join us on our next episode. That's and catch our top 5 Halloween movies. And then
be a part of it.
Go to our socials and let us know your top 12. Let us know your top 5.
Yep.
Let us know which one's your worst Halloween movie. Yes. And let us know which one was your best one. We're not judging anybody here. Everybody gets a seat at the table. With that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.